Here are a few things that I wish I knew before jumping into Test Drive Unlimited Solar Crown. So, first thing being always online. This has to be the biggest topic with this game because of how bad the servers have been. But that can be expected with the game being in its early release window. On launch day, servers were down for a few hours. Stability of the servers were not good at all, but they worked very fast to actually fix these issues. And they got the game up and running. And recently they actually put in a patch to fix or just improve the stability, with now the release of the full game to everyone on the 12th of September. However, since they released that patch, well, my game has started crashing. Like, I'd start loading into an event and the game would crash and I would have to restart. Now, something else with the game crashing is when you are participating in races, well, if your Wi-Fi decides to have a bit of a moment and cuts out, you are going to be logged out, which means whatever progress you had in that race is going to be absolutely lost. And when it comes to racing in Test Drive Unlimited Solar Crown, it is very competitive. I mean, this is a screenshot of how close a race was between myself and the AI. We finished at exactly the same time. And if you actually look at this picture, you will notice something that I consider an issue with the game. So with this picture, I'm using a Mercedes-Benz 300 SL with a performance points rating of 550 points. Whereas the AI was using a Nissan 370Z with 519 performance points, and we set the exact same time. You can see all of the vehicles are a lot lower rating than myself, but I still struggle to actually just get the win because the opponents are just extremely competitive. They are aggressive. They are not afraid to run you off circuits. And you think, oh, okay, you know, that's not so bad. You can deal with that. You know, you can just restart. Haha, that's the issue. You cannot restart in this game. Now, the reason for that being is because the races are supposed to be multiplayers. You cannot pause or restart a multiplayer event because obviously there's other players. So because of that, your only option is to abandon the event. So later in the game, they do have endurance events which take about 40 minutes to complete. So imagine now you are 38 minutes deep into this endurance event, something happens, you get logged out. That's all your progress gone. Or say you're still in this event, say you try it again, and you just keep driving, and the AI spins you out, or you lose control. There's no rewind features where you can just pull the car back a few seconds. If you do run off circuit, you can hold triangle and it will return you back onto the road. But by doing that, it is extremely slow, and by then your competitors are gonna be gone. They are gonna leave you in the dust, and it's just very competitive. And I can see why they would have the AI be this competitive, in order to simulate what it's gonna be like coming up against real players. And if that is the case, I can respect it, but I would like to change the difficulty, because that is something that you cannot do in Test Drive Unlimited Solar Crown. Now, say you only have AI in your event. I feel like you should be able to pause the event, stop the event, because even if you do pause the game, your car does not stop in the event. There's no auto takeover feature or anything. Your car will just run off circle, run into a bush. Your car does not stop, and neither does the cars you are racing against. So with races, you really don't know what you're gonna expect until you're in the event, because there's some races where I find myself almost a minute ahead of second place, and there's races that I struggle to get a win. It takes me multiple attempts to get a win, which when I do eventually get a win is quite rewarding. But you know what would be even more rewarding is a proper payout. Now look, I'm currently at level 30 in the game, and cars now are creeping around the 800,000 credit mark and up. So cars are quite expensive. Now, something that I would recommend you to do, if you do have to buy a vehicle, do not kit it out with all of the best options. Keep it as base model as possible, because you are gonna need money. It takes such a long time to grind up credits, and I know, yes, we have those credit tokens which you can find scattered around the map, and there are quite a lot of them, but those credit tokens are 12,000 credits, and the later into a game you get, it doesn't really make a dent. Getting credits from events, you can get, I think, a max of 30,000 credits when we are still early game. And understand, later in the game when you do come across the endurance events, those events are 200,000 credits, but it's for about 40 minutes of gameplay. So look, it does take quite a long time, and I would highly recommend you to save up money. Try and find out what the meta vehicles are. Meta vehicles that I would recommend you purchasing, if you can get it as soon as possible, is the Audi TT RS. That vehicle just dominates. It's so good. It's genuinely one of the best cars in the game, early game. And also the buggy that you can pick it up for, I think it's 250,000 credits or somewhere around that mark, and it just helps out because it's quite fast off-road, and in the cross-country events it dominates. It may be a bit tricky to drive at first, but the longer you drive it, the more you get used to it, the more you understand it, the faster you are in it. Get your hands on it, and it's just gonna make it a lot easier to grind and just get money. Do not just be buying cars frivolous. Do not just be buying cars all willy-nilly. There's no need. Understand, yes, you may want a car, really need the car, you go out, you buy it. There's no sell feature. You cannot sell your cars in Test Drive Unlimited. You are going to be stuck with said car, and you are going to have no money. So I say save up as much money as possible and just keep going like that. Keep building, keep building. There are a few events that are going to require a single vehicle to use. I recommend avoiding those events at first, and when you do have quite a lot of money, then go out and purchase those vehicles, and you can do that single event. Do not go out and spend 800,000 credits to do a single event, because it's not gonna pay out. Now, something else you also need to know when playing a game is when it comes to hitting objects in this game. This is not Forza, this is not Gran Turismo, this is not Crew. These items have weight, and it will slow your car down drastically. Yes, you can drive through some trees, but they will slow you down drastically. Cutting across an island that has just a little bit of grass to get over into the oncoming lane, that will slow you down. If you collide into the little metal barriers along the streets, that will slow you down. There's a lot that will slow you down in this game. You can really feel the weight and the realism behind that. Now, I say realism as I didn't just say you can drive through trees, but look, that is something you also need to watch out for when you are competing or just driving around in the game, because that is a bit of an issue. But look, Test Drive Unlimited, the game does have some issues and some things that you do need to know about before you dive in, and you can just prepare yourself. So there are quite a few things that you do need to know when it comes to Test Drive Unlimited Solar Crown, but I am here to help you, and whatever tips and tricks I find along the way, I will be making videos and just letting you know how to better your gaming experience. And with that being said, I will catch you guys in the next video.